Amara Okeke stood frozen, her heart hammering against her ribs, as a glass of vintage champagne shattered at her feet. "You are nothing but a glorified servant, Amara." Vanessa Cole's voice echoed across the room, dripping with malice. "Did you honestly think a billionaire like Malik could ever look at someone from your background? Know your place." Amara swallowed hard, fighting back tears. She looked past Vanessa to Malik Adeyemi, the man whose wedding she was supposed to be planning. Malik's jaw was clenched, his dark eyes burning with a mixture of rage and profound helplessness. This was supposed to be the biggest contract of Amara's career. Instead, it had become her beautiful, agonizing heartbreak, the grand assignment. 3 months earlier, Amara's boutique event planning firm had landed the contract of the decade, organizing the wedding of Malik Adeyemi, heir to the Adeyemi conglomerate, and Vanessa Cole, daughter of a shipping magnate. It was a match made in high society heaven. Amara, a self-made woman who had worked her way up from the bustling markets of Yaba to the elite circles of Ikoyi, was determined to remain professional. But her first meeting with Malik changed everything. Expectations of a spoiled, arrogant heir vanished the moment Malik walked in. He was breathtakingly handsome, standing tall in a perfectly tailored Senate attire, but it was his humility that caught her off guard. While Vanessa barked orders about imported caviar and diamond-encrusted invitations, Malik looked at Amara with genuine respect. "Thank you for taking this on, Amara," Malik had said, his deep, soothing voice sending an unexpected shiver down her spine. "I know my vision is simple, but we want it to be memorable." "Simple?" Vanessa had scoffed, tapping her manicured nails on the marble table. "Darling, this wedding must scream power. We have an image to maintain." Tides of emotion. As the weeks rolled by, Vanessa's involvement dwindled, leaving Amara and Malik to handle the grueling wedding preparations alone. They spent long evenings traversing Lagos, from selecting traditional fabrics in the vibrant heart of Lagos Island to tasting gourmet menus in Lekki. During a late-night tasting session, over plates of spicy jollof rice and grilled croaker fish, the professional walls began to crumble. "You have a gift, Amara," Malik said softly, watching her smile as she organized her lookbook. "You put your heart into everything you do. Where does that passion come from?" "My mother," Amara replied, her eyes softening. "She raised 3 of us by selling lace fabrics. She taught me that if you build something with love, it will last." "What about you, Malik? What is your passion?" A shadow crossed Malik's handsome face. He looked away, his shoulders heavy with a burden he hadn't shared with anyone. "Sometimes passion is a luxury we cannot afford. Duty comes first." In that quiet moment, as the Lagos lagoon shimmered under the moonlight outside the window, their eyes met. There was a raw, undeniable connection between them, a silent understanding that frightened Amara. She was falling for the groom, the heavy burden. What Amara didn't know was that Malik's world was fracturing. Behind the facade of private jets and luxury estates, Adeyemi Holdings was on the brink of collapse due to a massive fraud executed by a former partner. The only thing that could save his family's legacy and the livelihoods of thousands of employees was a multi-billion naira merger that depended solely on his marriage to Vanessa. One rainy evening, Amara accidentally walked into Malik's private office to drop off the final seating chart. She found him with his head in his hands, looking completely defeated. "Malik, are you alright?" she asked, stepping forward instinctively. Malik looked up, his defenses utterly shattered. Before he could stop himself, he pulled her into his arms. Amara gasped, but the warmth of his embrace anchored her. "Amara, I'm trapped," he whispered into her hair, his voice cracking with emotion. "This wedding, it's not for love. If I don't marry Vanessa, my family loses everything. I am selling my soul for a business deal." Amara felt a tear slip down her cheek. "Then why do it?" "Because I have to protect my family," Malik said, pulling back to look into her eyes. His thumb gently brushed away her tear. "But the tragedy is I have finally found the woman I actually want to protect, the woman I actually love. And it's you, Amara." Amara's breath hitched. It was the most romantic confession she had ever heard, wrapped in the most devastating reality. "We can, Malik. There is too much at stake." The confrontation, Vanessa was no fool. She had noticed the lingering glances, the way Malik's face lit up when Amara entered the room, and the sudden distance in her fiancé. Her jealousy reached a boiling point during the final wedding rehearsal. That was when Vanessa shattered the champagne glass, publicly humiliating Amara in front of the bridal party, the caterers, and the family members. "Vanessa, that is enough." Malik roared, stepping between them. No, it is not enough, Malik, Vanessa shrieked, her face contorted with rage. Tell her the truth. Tell her she's just a temporary distraction. Tell her that your father begged my father for this alliance. You belong to me, Malik, because without my family's money, the Grey Adeyemi name is worthless. The room fell dead silent. The shocking revelation hung heavily in the air. Amara looked at Malik, whose face had gone pale, his worst secret laid bare before everyone. Deeply humiliated and heartbroken, Amara wiped a stray tear from her cheek, held her head high, and walked out of the ballroom, leaving the billionaire and his fiancée in the wreckage of their arranged paradise. The wedding day. The day of the traditional wedding arrived, bathed in the golden Lagos sunshine. The Adeyemi family estate was a masterpiece of luxury. Millions of naira had been spent on cascading floral arrangements, crystal chandeliers hanging from marquee tents, and a guest list that included governors and royalty. Amara stood in the back, dressed in a simple but elegant lace outfit. Despite the humiliation, her professionalism prevailed. She would finish her job. The music swelled, the deep, resonant thumping of traditional talking drums. Vanessa walked down the aisle, looking stunning in a heavily embroidered Rigor buba andro, her neck adorned with priceless coral beads. She wore a triumphant smile. Malik stood at the altar looking like an African prince, but his eyes were dead. He scanned the crowd until he found Amara standing near the sound technician. Their gaze locked, and Amara gave him a small, bittersweet nod of encouragement. Be strong, her eyes said. The ceremony commenced. The traditional ruler asked the pivotal question. Malik Adeyemi, do you take this woman to be your wedded wife, to honor her and her family forever? Silence stretched over the marquee. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. The crowd began to murmur. Vanessa's smile faltered. Malik, she whispered sharply. Malik looked at Vanessa, then at his father, whose face was etched with anxiety. Finally, he looked back at Amara. In that split second, the weight of the world lifted from his shoulders. He realized that an empire built on a lie was no empire at all. No, Malik said, his voice echoing clearly through the microphone. I cannot. A collective gasp rippled through the high society crowd. Vanessa's mother fainted into her seat. Malik turned to the audience, taking a deep breath. I have spent my entire life doing what is expected of me, putting business and duty above everything else. But a marriage without love is a prison. I cannot marry for money, and I will not live a lie. He stepped off the altar, walking right past the furious, screaming Vanessa. The crowd parted like the Red Sea as Malik walked straight down the aisle toward the back of the tent. He stopped right in front of Amara, who was trembling, her hands over her mouth. Malik, what are you doing? She whispered, terrified but thrilled. Your company. We will rebuild it, Amara, from scratch if we have to. But I won't do it without you, Malik said, his eyes filled with a fierce, burning devotion. He dropped to one knee, ignoring the flashing cameras of the paparazzi. Amara Okeke, you showed me what true strength and grace look like. I don't want a business partner. I want a soulmate. Will you do me the honor of building a life with me? Tears poured freely down Amara's face, but this time they were tears of pure joy. The humble event planner and the billionaire had rewritten the script. Yes, Amara cried, her voice ringing with certainty. Yes, Malik. As Malik stood up and swept her into his arms, spinning her around. The vendors and a few brave guests erupted into cheers. It wasn't the wedding Lagos society had expected, but it was the greatest love story the city had ever witnessed.